All right, today we are going to get into the subject of using drones for ISR purposes, meaning intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. As popular as these devices have become with some people, they are still underutilized as prepping tools, and I'm here to explain why that is a mistake that you don't want to make. So, let's get to it. And welcome to the wasteland.
Home point updated.
Out here in the wasteland, information is limited, and usually, unless you go scout something for yourself, you really have no way of knowing what is out there. Which trail should you take at a fork? What's that shiny thing up on the mountainside? What's over that hill, or am I being tracked and followed from behind? These are questions that can be hard to answer out here with just yourself and maybe some optics to assist you. It takes a lot of time to scout ahead on foot, and the way could be dangerous. Wouldn't it be nice to have an eye in the sky to do that scouting for you? You bet it would. And that's where drones come in. Okay, so today I am using the DJI Mini 4 Pro, which all things considered is only a mid-grade drone compared to some of the crazy devices out there today. That being said, it is actually somewhat overpowered for most scouting and recon needs as far as prepping is concerned. It's a very nimble aircraft with full omnidirectional collision avoidance sensors, GPS guidance, and station keeping, and many automated features for takeoff, landing, and even returning to its launch point automatically at the push of a button. It can be flown manually or take advantage of autonomous tracking features, as you just saw a few minutes ago as it tracked me while I walked. Also, there are a few different built-in automated flight patterns for getting different types of shots without needing to manually fly them. Finally, it can also be programmed to fly completely autonomously, run missions based solely on GPS waypoints that you can pre-plan using the map software or the built-in controller. The camera system is fully stabilized and can capture video in full 4K resolution with zoom, and can also grab 48 megapixel still shots. Flight range is about 18 kilometers, and in sport mode it can fly at 16 meters per second, or about 35 miles an hour, and climb and dive at over 5 meters per second, which I think is like 11 miles per hour. In short, it can go pretty far, pretty fast, and I'm getting about 20 minutes, 22 from each battery, so there's that. Now, I'm not really going to get into the specifics of the operation for this exact drone here. There are other much more detailed videos out there for that, and I will link my favorites down in the description below. I encourage you to research a drone based on your specific needs, and then use those tools out there to get familiar with all the functionality of it. Here we are really just going to talk about the practical uses of drones for ISR purposes. And again, that's intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. In just about anything that you do in the world, information and knowledge is the key to success. All right, those who have it usually prevail over those who don't, and the goal here as a prepper is to make sure that you have it in spades. So, whether you're dealing with the actions of some opposing force in the post-collapse wasteland, maybe out looking to spot game to secure food for your community, or even scouting out points of interest and overland routes pre-collapse for future use, ISR will be a force multiplier. Navigating mountain trails gets easier when you can fly ahead to eyeball the terrain in advance of actually driving over it. Same thing for being out in a forested or hilly area and looking for a nearby pond or river. It's invaluable to be able to simply pop up in the sky for a bird's eye view all around. Out here in the desert, even a small hill can block my vision of the back trail, but a quick launch and I can see any approaching dust clouds and even fly out to investigate what or who might be making them. Let's show a quick example. Okay, that is about 2 miles away up there, something up there on the mountainside, maybe some caves or whatnot, but I can't really tell from here. This trail isn't too bad, but if this was a post-collapse situation, I would want to save as much fuel as possible and also not risk damaging my vehicle or tires. I could hike up there, but it's a decent distance and I'd have to leave my vehicle behind. But since I have the drone, let's take a quick run and see what we can see. All right, this time we'll go ahead and take off from the launching pad using the auto takeoff feature.
Home point updated.
Simple as that. Okay, the drone has set up a GPS home point to use for returning to later, so here we go. As I make my way up to the point of interest we spotted, I will use the flight to get a better look at the trail in case I decide to drive up there later. And we can check for any interesting things on the way. Even with all the satellite imagery available today, it's still pretty easy to miss stuff, especially old stuff that has started to blend back into the natural surroundings of the desert. Without the use of drones in my own scouting and mapping expeditions, I'm pretty sure I would have missed quite a bit that could have had a lot of future use. You can, of course, fly quite a bit higher or lower, faster or slower than what I am here, and it's an important thing to note that you do not need any phone service, data, or Wi-Fi connection to fly. You can even fly carefully without GPS. Obviously, post-collapse times will require a bit more care and skill in flying. For now, let's keep looking for stuff. And here we have something now. Looks like an old cattle corral and watering tank used back in the day by ranchers and cattle drivers. Checking my maps, I see that the area was called Cottonwood Spring, and now I know it as a possible resource in the future, both for the wood, which is in short supply in the desert, and for the wire. The close presence of water is apparent and marks the spring pretty well with the plant life it has enabled to grow in the area. It's a good find. Now we are coming up on our POI, and it does indeed look like a pair of pretty good-sized caves. Obviously from an old mining operation, given all the quartz littering the area. Probably very useful as a temporary shelter or even as a location to base a more permanent camp. At the least, it could be a good place to stash a survival cache for future use. Ah, come on, guys. You know me. You know I already got a bunch of stuff stashed out there. There are actually thousands of old caves just like this all over the Mojave Desert, left over from the old mining days. Cataloging and exploring them is part of getting to know my area of operations for the future. Okay, so let's take a look back at our home point. You can see it way out there. Pretty good distance, and we didn't have to waste time or effort physically traversing it, so that is good. Here's a quick shot of my control screen at the moment. You can see the yellow home point in the distance where I'm actually standing right now, and you can also see that I have 75% battery left, as well as other information. Okay. Heading back now, we'll just go ahead and hit the automatic return to home button and let the drone pilot itself back. And I'll go ahead and speed up that video a bit. And we'll do a little bit of a speed run on the way back. And now I will let the camera run while the drone demonstrates just how accurate the auto landing is using both cameras and GPS. Not bad. All right, that was one kind of scouting mission and a pretty decent one, but what about a more in-depth site recon? What if we had spotted an old ruin of some kind in the distance, someplace that could be filled with resources to salvage or even to use as a new base camp or permanent compound? Something like this. That looks like a promising place from here, but what if there are other people there? What if they're dangerous or desperate? How can we find out without taking too much of a risk? We don't want to give away our own presence, nor do we want to get too close and possibly end up in a confrontation. So, it's back to the air we go, this time with a quick launch.
Home point updated.
Okay, now first we will go up and get a good bird's eye view of our target and the surrounding area, and I will speed up some parts of the flight for the sake of timing. So, while we fly, what do you think so far? Do you like the idea of aerial reconnaissance? Are drones a valuable tool for prepping or not worth the price tag? I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts down in the comments, and hey, while you're down there, maybe hit that like and subscribe if you want to continue seeing content like this. It certainly helps out the channel, and I appreciate it a lot. But right now, back to our recon. Looks good. Now we can begin a careful approach. I think I'll come in from the north behind the hill. That gives the drone some initial cover and also doesn't allow any possible observers to track it back along its path to find our location. Pretty desolate looking, but lots of structure still intact. Definitely a site for a lot of past artwork. Looks deserted as well, which is what we were hoping for. But now let's go down for a closer look. First we'll do a bit of an orbit around, and then we'll go in for a detailed examination. Okay, some of you might recognize the location as one I have filmed at before. This is the ruins of Gold Dome Mill near Vanderbilt, California. It's been a good training ground for us before, and today it serves as an example of site recon. Relics of the past are all around us, but caught up in our societal city lives, very few of us know they are there. I guess that can be a good and a bad thing. Good for those that know, and bad for the ones that don't. The benefits of drone recon are twofold in time. In today's pre-collapse times, it is still a good idea to remotely recon sites like this before driving in. Out here in the Mojave, I have run across more than my fair share of meth labs and human trafficker groups that use such sites occasionally, and I prefer to know about them before they know about me. The other side of that coin is the post-collapse time, or the days shortly after the shit-hitting begins. The benefits of aerial recon will be the same, and for much the same reason.
Landing.
Simple as that. Now, let me show you one more little tidbit. So I'm driving right now, certainly not piloting the drone, but as you can see, it is tracking and following me just fine. If I was traveling with others, whoever was riding shotgun could use the drone during this time to actively scout ahead and to the sides as we drive. And 35 miles an hour is more speed than we actually need on these trails. But today the drone has to fly itself, and that is no problem at all. It can recognize the Jeep and lock on to maintain tracking at speed. This is just a demonstration of another capability to scout off to the sides on the fly, as it were, while you're actually underway. This is the kind of feature that could also be used to track and follow a target while you got ready to pursue, or just to see where they end up going for future reference. The possibilities are endless. But hey, stay safe and stay ready, my friends. It's a wasteland out there.